Just let me. Great, thank you. So we've got a small group, but I know that there's some folks that will be joining. I had a lot of folks that said they couldn't make it today. And I trust that everybody received a packet of the items for the agenda. The agenda, I think you have one too, Donna. Donna is here with me. Donna is the president of the Lions Club. And she saw the Lions Club on the agenda. She's like, what up with that? But before we get into the actual discussion, I did want to bring up to the members, an occurrence that happened last Friday and has certainly had escalated. And to start a meeting without bringing it up would not be justice. I had emailed the chief of police earlier today to let her know that I was bringing it up and not to have her be sidelined on it, but that it came to my attention that on Friday that there was a group of unhoused folks that had a not just only a disagreement, there was a stabbing, and the person who was stabbed succumbed. Since then, yesterday night, I went to get gas for my car because I was on fumes, and I made sure that my sister was on the phone with me as I did not feel safe at the gas station. I have not said that in I'm 62 years old. Let's see, I've been in the downtown area for quite a few years, probably more so than some of you who are not my age. It was the first time I had said I have not been able to do that. I have not felt safe about walking from my office here to the post office, which is a block and a half. Those are real experiences that I've had. I know that I've heard from others that do not feel that way. I've heard from some developers in the meantime. And as many of you know, when we shared the link, there is the Downtown Brockton Association has a YouTube, and last month's recording, we had Mainspring, and we had John on it, and he talked about the things that Mainspring are doing, and in conjunction with Jasmine from the mayor's office. But it is systemic, coming in and cleaning out from underneath the underpasses once a week is certainly appreciated, but it's not enough. And I have not been this unnerved in a very long time. So I sent an email to the mayor, to the chief of police. I had the mayor, Jasmine, and the 2 ward counselors on that email, along with some businesses. And I just want to property owners particularly, and I'm meeting with property owners next week to talk about this very issue. So it's only going to be property owners. It is not necessarily an open to public because I want to be able to understand from each of them what their issues are. And once those issues are brought forward, a correspondence will be presented to the city to talk about it. So I just wanted to let all of you know, if you are someone who walks around downtown, if you are a property owner, if you're a business, you're a visitor, you care about downtown. I think this is a time where we really just want to be able to take that information and, the goal really is to see more development and more business downtown, to see the city be not just only downtown, the city be more walkable. But I can't in good faith continue to talk about that while I think that the issue needs to be further explained. So that's my opening statement. I say that, and I appreciate for those listening in. Any questions about that before I move forward? Great, thank you. So then we talk about membership. So I held off charging a membership for the DBA because I thought there was a need to really build our network, our worth, with a new website, with a very successful holiday parade. None of these happen independently. It's just not the DBA. It certainly is a partnership that we have with property owners and organizations in the city and the school department. That's how that becomes helpful. But at this time, in order for us to get to the next level, perhaps even finding someone who can assist with some clerical duties, because right now I'm the only one, actually strike that, I am not the only one who does that. Megan and Amanda are also the ones who assist with a lot of the clerical duties. So in the packet, we sent out what membership are. If there's any questions, it's pretty de minimis. It's $50 for individual and it's $100 if you're a company. We've had some generous donations from various organizations such as Harbor One that have continually to be utilized and will be utilized. But this is for the ongoing operation of the Downtown Brockton Association. Yep. So questions about membership, we have launched it. Actually, what I'm going to do is only because I know that Jason Korb, you just came on, but he is one of our downtown property owners. And Derek, I had made an opening statement and shared with those on this, the email that I sent to the chief this morning. And I also announced that the property owners and businesses will be meeting next week to, so that we're able just to accumulate what each of them have as issues. I know from one property owner, the unhoused walking into their business and stealing things from their garage, to those who have residents who get harassed in their parking garage. So I don't know, Derek, if you want to say anything.
Yeah, sorry I was late. When I went to log on, I had to update Zoom and it took forever, so I apologize for that. The chief did see your email as well as I did. She's going to be speaking with Captain Picaro to set up director patrols times and different times and locations for that area. I do know she's in a staff meeting right now with all the captains. I'm assuming that's going to be brought up. So that's about all the information I have in regards to what she knows right now in regards to that. But as far as the email about the person being stabbed, he did not die. I don't know where you got that information. He actually, I talked to some of the detectives. He had like superficial wounds. He was walking around. It was very not nice to us, I guess. I guess he didn't want anything to do with us. He, obviously he went to the hospital and things, but he doesn't want anything to do with the investigation on what went on there. So he did not succumb to his injuries. I
appreciate the clarification on that.
Sure.
And I appreciate the chief. I had met with her earlier that morning on Bike to Work Month. So she has always been responsive, and so have you, Derek. But I again appreciate the early comments, and I know that I think what I have heard from most folks is that on the issue of the unhoused is that, as I said, it is a systemic issue. It's much more than just let's clear them out once a week and then gone. I do know particularly those from the easterly side of the railroad tracks that has become an issue. But I just told, I have some of my staff members who do park in the parking garage. So this is, let me just be clear, this is not an Old Colony Planning Council issue. This is really many property owners in the area. I just so happened to experience something and hear something. So it was a combination of hearing about the scuffle, now knowing that the person had not succumbed, so thank you. But then from going to getting gas, and it wasn't like 9 o'clock at night, it was 7 o'clock, and then the harassment at that garage. It's concerning. So I know it's not going to be solved today. I just think taking this opportunity for today at the DBA meeting, for us to for people to know that it's being addressed from the property owner's perspective, and again, working with the police department to try to get some resolution. But as I also said in my letter, is that I know it's not just only unhoused, it's also mental health issues, it's also substance use, and those are beyond any of ours, but something does need to be done to address them. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I'm totally agreeing with you. It's just, I think the difficulty we run into with all the organizations that become involved in this is that if the person doesn't want any assistance from anybody, it's just difficult because they don't want it and we can't force them to get it, and they're still there. We got to try to figure something out to address that issue as well.
And I think, Derek, what's going to happen for some property owners is that they're going to just not maintain their investment in the downtown, because they're going to get tired. If that's the answer of saying that we can't address, then, is there?
No, I'm not saying we can't address it. I'm not saying we can't. I think the issue is if someone doesn't want the assistance, whether it's a mental health issue, a medical issue, or things of that, or a substance abuse issue, we need to figure something out to get them off the streets, try to get them into whatever programs they need. I know we can't force them to do it, but we need to figure out a solution to do it so they're not under the bridges, they're not behind the businesses, they're not standing outside the Royal Gas there, you know, asking for money every day and things like that. I'm not saying there isn't an issue. We just have a solution. We need to find one. Maybe like, I can't say the word force, but you know, I don't know what the word I'm trying to look for is. Maybe strongly influence them to seek services.
You know, I appreciate that. Jason?
Hi, everybody. Sorry, I haven't been on these calls. We're building a building in Bridgewater that many of you have seen. And we have our construction meetings like exactly at this time, but we're wrapping up construction. So I know some of you guys, but not everybody. I'm the owner of Station Lofts, and we built Station Lofts in 2013. And you know, it's a challenging situation downtown, and I certainly don't envy the situation that the police are in too, because it's really challenging. And so, you know, as business owners, we all have invested in the downtown. I have a significant investment in the downtown, as most of you probably do. There's got to be a different way of dealing with this. Like, you know, we can't be the first city to have dealt with this issue, and there have to be best practices somewhere, you know. And I'm like, there's so many layered issues, as Mary said, between like mental health issues and poverty and substance abuse, and like so many things that I am not a professional and able to tackle. But I am dealing with my issues of like, what's the end result of what's happening here? And it's just like it's not a good outcome for anybody, including the people who, I mean, someone was stabbed. Like, it's not a great outcome for that person. It's not, I mean, no one wants to be, you know, unhoused and like feeling marginalized in society, and we certainly don't want them to feel that way either. So like, it's such a big issue. And I guess my question is, and it'd be more to like someone from the city, and not necessarily you, Officer Solomon, but like who's really taking, like, who's the leader on this? Like, there has to be a captain of the ship to help direct resources, apply for resources, and come up with like maybe a more comprehensive strategy than just like an incident happens and we respond to it. I don't know. So I just wanted to throw that out there. I don't know what the answer is. I really don't, you know. And like getting more secure, like private security it doesn't like fix problems, right? Like it would maybe make our residents feel better, which we may have to do at some point, but like there's got to be a more holistic approach to this. So that's my thought. So,
You know, appreciate that, Jason. And again, my purpose for bringing this matter up is because didn't want to, first of all, wait for another DBA meeting. And just on the heels of the last one where we had Mainspring come in, I do look to Jasmine from the mayor's office, as she does deal with human services. But I know that in the past, Jason, there's been a discussion about having private security, at least support, you know, if I need to walk my employees out to the parking lot, then I'm going to do that. Because the other choice is that they won't, you know, they work. So we have an opportunity where staff can work remote. But that's not the answer either, right? If we're going to be bringing in, you know, hundreds of units of housing to the downtown, the answer is not just having private security be supplemented.
Yeah.
The PD is not able to. And again, a deeper discussion for the property owners, businesses, is being formulated right now. And if there's anybody that has an interest in participating as a property owner or business, I want to first be able to talk to them first, and then fold in the other services once we have it accumulated, what exactly is happening from their perspective. So thank you, Jason. I don't know,
thanks for
Jasmine,
calling us, Mary. Thanks for calling us all of our attention too. I appreciate it. You know, I'm not downtown every day, but our staff is. So,
but you hear from your management company and your residents. Jasmine, do you have want to weigh in?
Sure. So for those who are interested, bi-weekly on Wednesday mornings at 10 a.m. I host the mayor's homeless task force meetings where a bunch of different agencies throughout the city meet, and we are actually working to try to figure out how to address this concern. On a almost daily basis, myself and then members from Father Bills and Mainspring are going out and doing community outreach, as well as the Champion Plan and several other organizations. We are running into a lot of people that are not from the Brockton area that are turning up here, and that's a lot of who we're seeing congregating under the bridges as of recent. They are people that have been sent as overflow from Boston shelters. We are working to coordinate with Boston to get them reconnected to their service area, whether that means just providing transportation back so they can be connected because their housing resources, all their paperwork is filed out there. So anything they filed for the most part is in that area. So that is something that we are currently working on. Our next meeting will be next week on Wednesday at 10 a.m. So I will put the link in the chat here for anyone that's interested. But I would love to hear a different viewpoint than the people we maybe are already meeting with on how this is affecting the community, on how people think maybe we could add some different strategies into place, but also just additional support in any way that would be helpful. As we all know, the number of people we're seeing is growing and the challenge is very different at this time versus what it might have been in the past. But we are definitely working on it. It is just something that has been very difficult for us to kind of get a handle on. And as we saw the other night, that incident kind of has shaken a lot of people up. So I do hope that you all remain safe in the coming weeks. But please let me know if you guys hear of things that I maybe don't so that we can address those.
Thank you, Jasmine. That's helpful to know. And I know you're going to send the link. Is that link open to anyone? Because I'm not quite sure if I knew about this meeting, about that you were meeting on this issue on a weekly basis as a DBA president.
So typically what it was is whoever had been on the task force when Corin was still in the office is who it was sent out to. But for anybody new that is interested, I would be more than happy to get the link to them. I can put it in the thing here, and I can also send out a email invite if anyone wants to share their email with me in the chat. But for the most part, it is open to everybody. It's mostly agencies right now, but if there are individuals that would like to have input or like to help with outreach, please let me know.
Great, thank you, Jasmine.
Absolutely.
Before we move on to memberships and everything else we have on the agenda, I don't know if there's anybody else that would like to on this topic. Again, separate property owners meetings, business owners meetings going to be scheduled for next week. And then, you know, Jasmine, I think, again, most businesses and property owners have a business to run and they don't necessarily have the time to be sitting in. They just want to be able to make sure that they're heard, particularly since the business community pays a higher tax rate than residents do. And, you know, and the fact that we've been talking about the potential of business improvement district, I'm not quite sure if that's the way to go until we know that this issue is going to be resolved on a not just only a week by week basis, but on for the long-term strategy. So thank you, Jasmine, as well as Officer Salomon. And I know you're both going to stay on for the rest of the meeting. So how about that for a beginning? But again, you'll be getting the memberships that will be you'll be receiving, but you can go on to the website. There's a link that will lead you right to paying for. It's like, again, if you are an individual or if you are an organization, and it is those memberships that will give you the authority to vote at a meeting. It will be those memberships that will give you a live link onto our website. It will be those memberships that will give you the opportunity to promote your events. It will be that membership that will put you on a newsletter that we'll be sending out to the Downtown Brockton Association. That's where it's going to be your value. It does take time, and thank you, Megan, for sharing that information. That all that's there, but it's also on the website. There we go. It's also on the website for memberships. You know, again, this will be a membership drive that will last through the end of March. And then we'll renew accordingly. So thank you. There's been couple folks already that have joined just because we've been talking about it and appreciate that. Any questions about membership? You can pay online, PayPal, or Venmo. So we're finally out of the 18th century. We're now in the 21st or 22nd century, maybe. Anyway, if there's no questions about the membership, we'll go on to bylaws. So one of the things that we've also been, there's been a couple small group of us that have been meeting to look at our current bylaws. They are, thank you, Megan, for bringing them up. They are also on our website. There's going to be a need to make some updates of, to this in terms of, the description of a secretary or description, instead of calling it secretary, can we call it the clerk? There are some, so this has been sent out to a few folks, and if you're interested in serving on the bylaw committee, please send me an email, because we're going to be meeting soon. Amanda, when are we meeting? I don't know, Amanda, if you're still on.
Sorry,
Anyway.
my Teams is ringing. I'm trying to turn it off.
That's okay, sorry about that. When she gets that figured out, just put in the chat, we are looking for folks who would be interested in serving on the bylaw committee. I think we need to get the bylaws in shape in order for us to ask for folks who would be looking to serve in the capacity of the executive committee. I am going to stay on for one more term to get us through the bylaws and the memberships and through some of the next steps, but I am looking for folks to take on. So Hugo from Harbor One has also agreed to stay on as treasurer. He just became it after Joe had stepped down, but so there's a self-nominating form. Thank you, Megan. Easy enough to fill out and submit. I think that there was a couple folks who had asked, like, so what does so-and-so do? That's our bylaws. That should be the guiding light in terms of what to do. But, the idea is that I do not feel comfortable sometimes making some decisions. I feel it's me, myself, and I, or myself and Hugo, or bringing John in as the previous chair. I really want to make sure that we have a robust discussion and it's not seen as the Mary Waldron agenda, but it's seen as the Downtown Brockton Association agenda. So, so that self-nominating form, we'll be sending that out again with the notes from today's meeting. Any questions about that? Either the bylaws or the self-nominating forms? So otherwise, I'll move on to the Business Improvement District status. So there have been a steering committee that has met over the last year. We've talked about this at a couple of the meetings. And Business Improvement District is an assessment to the property within a particular area. The area had been defined and voted on by the steering committee, that it goes from Warren Ave, Pleasant Street, Commercial, I believe, Plymouth, maybe, I gotta double check on that, and then Crescent Street, and has a little bit of a jogging out. That information, we'll make sure that we get that onto our website. But next Thursday, not this Thursday, there's going to be a meeting of the steering committee where each of the property owners need to sign off in terms of an agreement to be assessed. The idea is to raise funds to deal with the cleanliness and safety of downtown, which starts off with what we began. But it would mean that these funds are specifically directed and controlled by the property owners, not by the DBA, not by the city, but by the property owners. And to hire someone, I think, to really take on, it's a full-time job plus to do this work. And I think in order for the businesses to really, the property owners and the business owners to move forward. So we'll make sure that, again, we'll send some information out and have it on our website about the Business Improvement District, but we've talked about that for quite a while, but it's starting to move forward to the next stage. I don't know if Councillor Thompson is on. I can't tell. Let me see. I do not see him, and I don't see anybody else from the city. So let me just bypass that. I don't know, Derek, maybe if you're still on, I think you are. Derek, I don't know if there's any other items that maybe you would like to talk about other than what we just did in terms of of other things that the police department's doing?
No, the only thing I really topic I want to talk about was, excuse me, the email you sent out today.
Okay.
Yes, that, but we do have, on a good note, we do have 4 new officers started today. 3 of them graduated the academy last night. One of them's coming over from
Okay.
school police, so I will be running soon to go to the swearing in ceremony at City Hall. So we do have a few more officers starting, a couple more graduating next month, so we're trying to get our numbers up.
And Derek, I'm glad you mentioned that. You know, the reality is that for a city our size, that we do not have a large, you know, comparatively to other gateway cities, as many police officers, as say like a Fall River, New Bedford. But that's also, my understanding has been from past history, is that the longevity is not as long there either. But, you know, getting in new officers, getting some more foot patrols, getting some more, you know, we certainly, I think, have never really taken a stand, but seeing more foot patrols. I know on our website, we have a picture of Enid and oh, he's gonna kill me if I forget his name, but anyway, know that they are visiting businesses on an ongoing basis. It's not done where it's, you know, just for the photo op. It really is checking in and going into the businesses and seeing what's going on. So, you know, it's really important that we recognize the work and hopefully see more of that as we go forward. So, and it was noted to me, Min, is that probably the person that people see most around, walking around downtown, is the district attorney. Where I know that he's probably walking to and from the police department and others, but it is good to hear. I know that there's some other ancillary issues going on, Derek, is that behind the church on West Elm Street and the whatever lot that is behind Stadelman lot. I think I've heard some issues that there's been some mattresses that people have been putting up and sleeping. And then also behind the Harbor One church on Legion Parkway.
Okay.
Again,
Yeah, I'll look into it. It's the first I've heard about it, but I'll look into it. The mattresses are actually being like laid out behind the buildings and sleeping there at night. Okay,
yeah.
I'll look into those areas. Thank you.
No, thank you. I appreciate that. And for only because we voted upon it last week, we voted on the modernization of the Adams, to support the modernization of the Adams garage. I had a conversation yesterday with the parking authority, and in fact, they said that they have plans that are beginning to be underway to do that. And we appreciate it. I said, you know, it's going to be a little bit more of a cost associated with it. I am going to get a copy of the parking feasibility study that was done in 2017, and to see if that's going to be needed to be updated. Once again, my understanding is the Adams Street is pretty booked. The Carpenter Garage has been pretty much permitted out. There's 420 spaces, and going to be even more so with the with Trinity project that is going to be coming online, with the Ted Carmen project that's coming online, with the Petronelli gym rehab, as you can imagine. And then there was preliminary, and I only say preliminary, don't have great details about it, but that there's another parking garage that might be on the plate, which would go on Warren Ave once the public safety building is going to be developed. So a lot going on, right? And again, it's having the downtown be a nice, safe and productive and active location is going to be an important goal, I think, of the DBA. So I think we're done with government, right? I don't think there's anybody else that's on. Going through this quickly. And I put on here on the agenda, because Donna saw this in the packet that was sent out, and it will be sent out to those. Oh, actually, Megan, oh, there we go. Thank you, Megan. Let me just minimize this. So the Lions Club has a eyeglass cleaning service project every third Thursday of the month at Enzo Art Gallery from 6 to 8. Just wanted to share that donation. All great work that the Lions Club does, and didn't know if you want to put a plug in while you're here.
Oh, sure. We're always looking for volunteers to help with our projects. We also do charity guild delivery of foods. We also help the homeless. We have kids also that need eyeglasses. And we are collecting used glasses at the library as well as Council of Aging. And I'm trying to get some boxes over to the east and the west side for persons who wish to donate eyeglasses. But we do more than eyeglasses within the community. We always here, our motto is to serve. So we're also hoping that we get the word out. I thank you, Mary, for this visibility for us.
Right,
The club has been around since 1925
right.
and we chartered in 2008. So I'm currently working on bringing the history forward and celebrating the work that we're doing in the Brockton community. So I encourage you guys to become members, volunteer with us, and help us to bring this back to life.
Right, thank you, Donna, appreciate that. Any questions of Donna and this project? Again, share the information, share the wealth. I know, Amanda has a nice little heart out there. Again, I think the work that the Lions Club does, the work that the Rotary does, that all for great reasons and for needs of the great needs that's here within the city of Brockton. So thank you. Next, well, there's a couple of things. I think there's some public service announcements I want to do. So Seed Corporation, they have financial planning, life insurance, and retirement options. Not that I'm retiring, but that came up and I said, let's share. If you don't know our friends at Seed Corporation, certainly go to their website and find out more information. They're on our website. There should be a live link to them and to their work. I believe that what else we have, Brockton Public Schools. So next week is school vacation week. And there is a whole lot of activities. So we have from the planetarium shows, there's a number of things that are on the screen and we'll also promote on our social media. But the Brockton Public Library has so many things going on, not just only the planetarium. There's a whole host of things. And there was way too many for me to provide, but Pat Monteith had asked us to share this information and we will, and would be able to get that sent out again. So if there's any interest, go to the Brockton Public Schools website for more information. And next, so one of the things that I tried to do, and I quickly sent it out yesterday, was to promote our downtown restaurants. And it was done last minute, but said for Valentine's Day, maybe visit some of these places. But one of the places that are just on the outskirts of the immediate downtown, but I think it certainly is within our catchment area, is Nongon, a Vietnamese restaurant. Their food is phenomenal. And I just wanted to give them a shout out and offered them. And for any new business, the DBA will be offering them free memberships to the DBA. So they can become engaged and more people to know about, it certainly is walkable, but definitely a different. And so we're glad to have them on board for a new member. I'm trying to think if I had anything else. Oh, I do want to bring up for the March meeting. I was trying to fit this in for Black History Month, and I really, just being a short month, but we're going to work on highlighting Brockton downtown businesses that are owned by owners of color. We'll be doing a special thing, but we'll do it for next year. But March is Women's Month, and we will be highlighting women-owned businesses in the downtown area, and we'll probably move our daytime meeting to a nighttime and have some celebration. And I will get you a date. We're still putting together some pieces on that. So that March 15th date may move. Amanda, did we come up with a date?
Have a couple lined up, but nothing permanent yet. We should have one, I'd say, by the end of this week.
Okay, so to be determined, but it's going to be in March. But you could probably take that March 15th date off particularly during the daytime. And what I will ask is for those that normally do a reporting out. So, definitely the police department and certainly of our government officials, if they have anything that they'd like to update, to provide that in writing, we can have it at that meeting. And I know that the survey, Janice Fitzgerald, the survey for the Council on Aging is still out there. Is that right?
Yes, the survey is still out there. You can get to it by going to the City of Brockton website and looking for the link that says take the Brockton Community Survey, or you can come by here or call us and we can get one to you. And thank
Great,
you so
thank you.
much, Mary.
Great. We shared it at the last DBA meeting, but I wanted just to make sure to let folks know that it's still out there. I know that, Amanda, let's see. Oh, thank you for very much for doing that. If you do have events, we will be sharing them on our events page and looking to continue to drive information. Thank you very much, Megan, for throwing that up there. So there's a community survey. So with that, my intention again was really for us to focus on bylaws, let folks know that they'll be getting membership. My hope is that you do it automatically without us having to send out membership dues, but I will send them out anyway. But also if there's an information that you'd have that you'd like to share, we will definitely add that to the website. And once again, since he's sitting across the way from me, but the chamber in terms of supporting our, supporting our website in providing resources for us to do our website over. I can't underestimate the value of having a website that has the capacity to do online activity, to have us have a YouTube. So we have a YouTube, Brockton DBA has a YouTube channel, and we also have now our own Zoom account, so we don't have to be bugging OCPC for doing it, but all those great things. So anyway, is there anybody, if you have anything to share, either online or in the office?
Sure, thank you, Mary, for all that information. Very, very, very helpful. The chamber did hold a session with the mayor and with Dr. Mark Melnick last Thursday, and I think it was very informative. The mayor referred to Brockton's new designation in two ways. One, in a serious way, which is Brockton Where Better Begins, and that whole campaign came about as a partnership with many of the DBA folks and as well as some private funds and public funds. But he also talked about this summer, referring to Brockton, downtown Brockton, as the Crane City, because of the number of cranes that will be in place on construction projects for housing and multi-use. So that's really exciting in downtown. So keep an eye out for that designation of Crane City in kind of a wonderful, fun way. Mark Melnick had shared slides with us about the Massachusetts economy, and then the Metro South economy, and then the Brockton economy. So I've asked those slides be sent to Mary so that they can be posted and made available, because very rarely do we get, a Donahue Institute, economic development institute of that nature and stature focused on us. So it was nice to have that information. I think others could benefit from it. And then, as I saw, Mary just flipped up there, March 2nd at Thorny Lee Golf Club, we will be featuring the 8th annual Multicultural Business Forum, where we invite 4 businesses to share their story of how they got going, what made the difference, how is it going, and that type of thing. Mostly these folks are Brockton based, women and minority owned businesses. We'll feature Joe Gonzalez. He is the owner of New Vision Enterprises, who just finished 19 Main Street. Really wonderful new renovation of the old Catholic Church administration building on Main Street. Lee Nichols, who is the formulator of Wise Mouth Tea. She came out of Commonwealth Kitchens in Boston, and now she's trying to locate her business here for manufacturing in the city of Brockton. Carla Reese Smith from Reese's Marvelous Hats. Wonderful lady with all kinds of experience, life experience, who we helped cut her ribbon in Stoughton Center Friday. And she's just a wonderful person who's going to tell you her story about how she started a business and some of the assistance that she got. And then finally, Tomei Andre with his wife, Valerie Andre, who opened Cabo Vegan. We did their ribbon cutting a couple weeks ago, right here in downtown Brockton at 20 Main Street, right across from 19 Main Street, right? So we understand that when a building gets renovated, it kind of excites the people on each side of them and across the street to also activate their properties. And that's an example of Tomei and Valerie buying the building, not just renting it, but buying it, renovating it, and opening this wonderful new Cabo Vegan restaurants. So to Mary's point, there's a lot of great restaurants downtown. I just got a call from a national publication asking me to do an interview about the restaurants, ethnic restaurants in Brockton. And if you walk anywhere, you will see Caribbean, and you'll see Italian, and you'll see Cape Verdean, and you'll see Haitian, and you'll see everything in between. It's really wonderful, and it's really good food, right? Peruvian place, it's right after this. So great selection. I'm glad people notice it.
Thank you,
Mary.
Chris. Janice Fitzgerald, I know there's some movement going on with the Council on Aging, some growth for you.
Yes, actually, in the middle of March, we should be starting the move to our temporary location, which will be at the Shaw Center for about 12 months. We're adding on to the current building here and doing some major renovations. So if you folks in the downtown area notice it looks kind of quiet over here for a while, it's only because we're looking to make it bigger and better in the year to come. So we will be having an open house at the Shaw Center to invite everyone over to see what we've got going on over there. And I'll make sure that Michelle gets the information to the DBA so that we can have you stop over and get a cup of coffee and a cookie or two. So we're really excited. Stay tuned. And thank you so much.
Thanks, Janice. And having be one of the age of 62, that I am a senior, I have yet to take advantage of those services that the Council on Aging has, but I do know from your perspective, right, as baby boomers, as we are aging upward, we're still very active and still want to be. And so the work that you do, Janice, and you know, we appreciate it. And I know that you'll be having the will you be having the walk from then to against elder abuse, and when that might be?
Yep, so that's in June, and we've actually started planning for that with Old Colony Elder Services. So we don't quite know the plan at this point, but we definitely will acknowledge it in some way, shape, or form. And then just one other thing, Mary, now that you mentioned how old you are, I just wanted to remind you and let you know that pickleball this year is taking off. We had a great turnout here the other day at the center when we did a beginner's class. And people are able to use the Y 3 days a week with her Melinda, our instructor, for $2. So we got to get you and the girls out there. March 18th, we're starting the season. So get your shorts and sneakers out.
Thank you, Janice. That the humor that you have is just wonderful. Janice and I are part of a group of friends that have started already. So, well, I haven't joined you guys, but thank you. I think that part's really important, though, Janice. There are the YMCA, the Boys and Girls Club. There's lots of things that are going on, and I think the idea is to, again, a central place of sharing this information. So thank you. Does anybody else have anything to share? I'm looking at the chat, and I don't see anything, but that doesn't mean. Oh, did Councilor Thompson make it on? I know that he was in the wrong. And while we're waiting for him, Megan, I'm going to have you just make sure he has the right one. So where I think the last meeting, there was a couple concerns. We switched from Old Colony Planning Council Zoom link to the Downtown Brockton Association Zoom link. So some of you may still have the old link, which caused some concern. So my apologies, but we will make sure that if you go to the website has the meetings and should have all the details that are there. So I don't see Jeff on. Megan, do you know? Is Jeff on?
I just want to say something.
Oh,
No,
okay,
I sent him the link, but I didn't hear back and I don't see him.
Okay, Donna?
So I just want to say tomorrow, which is Thursday, is our third Thursday of the month, and we will be doing eyeglass washing at the Enzo Flats tomorrow. So if you can stop by and see what we do, we really appreciate that.
Yep. Great.
At 6 o'clock.
Yep, thank you.
Hi, Mary. Linda Texera Rees.
Hi, Linda.
how are you all? I just wanted to quickly say, I did invite Tomei from Cabo Vegan to these meetings and to join the DBA. He does want to do that. It's just a timing issue for them right now. You can imagine they're super duper busy. But he definitely wants to come on here and talk about, some of the exciting things. And oh my goodness, talk about amazing food.
Right.
And so, and I'm Cape Verdean, so I can make this at home. I know, I get there. So it's absolutely fantastic. And secondly, there's a link on the City of Brockton website. There's going to be a meeting tonight, 5:00 for the Women's Commission. So if anyone would like to participate in the meeting and find out some of the things that are going to be happening, we'd definitely love to have you.
Great information. Thanks, Linda. I think what I'm going to do for the March meeting, that remember how I said, let's cancel the lunchtime? Let's make the March 15th lunch at Cabo Vegan. And then we'll still do our Women's Month by the, whatever the event will be. So we can have the DBA at Cabo Vegan. Yeah, but that's okay. I mean, we'll be there and then maybe we'll get a nice day. So Women's Commission. And I'm just going to send Al DiGirolamo from Senator Brady's office. Thank you for just being on here. School committee man, Tony Rodriguez. Thank you for being on here. I know that Al, thank you. I don't know if there's the senator always, again, I need to follow up because I've not heard anything about our earmark or email back. So I need to do that. But I'll make sure I include you on that. Anything else that you'd like to
please
say?
include us and we'll join you in inquiring. They haven't gone back to you at all? Okay.
I sent the email, they responded back saying we'll get back to you, and that's at least been about a month.
Okay.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And again, if Councillor Thompson is going to be joining us. Thank you. Sorry about the difficulties in having that link, but thank you for joining us. Oop. Maybe if you're muted, Councillor Thompson.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Mary. I appreciate it. I don't know what, I just clicked the link that was sent to me. So, yeah, thank you for having me. Just, I guess, a quick update. I've had some real productive meetings with the mayor recently regarding some of the issues going on downtown. Two of those issues are the bridge situation and Sycamore Grove. As it pertains to the bridges, the city is currently putting together an apparatus. It's really an art and cultural exhibit that would be put into place under each one of the 4 downtown bridges. I meant to send a link to show you the concept of what we're proposing. I'll try to do that for the next meeting, or at least respond after this to the group email with the idea of what we're trying to implement underneath the bridges. But essentially, it's an apparatus that would fit within the curvature of the bridges that would act as an art exhibit. I've been working with John Messia out of the mayor's office, working together with some of the cultural and art organizations in Brockton, including the art department at Brockton High, to talk about what type of art and cultural exhibits that we would put onto this apparatus. And so we've made some headway there. What we're looking at is kind of having a theme for every bridge and then implementing the artwork on the apparatus. Essentially, these are rigid metal wedges in a way that would have art on both sides of them And if you're driving east through the bridges, you would see one exhibit. When you're driving west through the bridges, you would see another one. And so we believe it will increase the beautification of downtown, and it would secondarily act as an impediment for any homeless encampment or congregation under the bridges. So we're pretty well along in this process. These apparatus have been engineered. We're finishing up the art aspect of it. And I just had a meeting earlier this week with the mayor regarding the funding of these apparatus. And so I think we've identified the funding mechanism for this apparatus. And we would expect the RFP to go out shortly, with hopefully implementation and installation later this spring. And the turnaround time is really not all that long. We would expect them all to be, erected probably in about a month time frame. And so, this is a really important aspect to our downtown. We're asking developers to invest multi-millions of dollars in our downtown, and the city needs to do its part to make sure that downtown is safe, clean, and an area where people will feel safe to congregate. And we are working on that. Additionally, I have spoken to the mayor just earlier today. We are now currently looking to put on the books a sit down with a lot of interested parties, basically our police department. I asked that the DBA be included in this sit down, Father Bills, the district attorney's office, our quality of life board, the at-large counselors, and any other person or organization that we deem appropriate to sit down and really start discussing the increase of the homeless population downtown. Now, we do have multiple avenues to address this issue, but I think the city needs to heighten its response to the homeless situation downtown. And if there's violence occurring that's resulting in death, then this needs to be treated as the emergency it is. And so I'm hoping that this new task force can meet shortly and start formulating a plan to deal with this problem. And so you'll hear further updates from me on this matter. And I ask that the DBA participate in this task force. So, I take it serious, with the utmost seriousness. I think it needs to be addressed. And I'm hoping over the next couple of weeks, we really formulate a plan to address it.
Counselor, thank you. Officer Salamone had corrected me in saying that it did not result in a death of the incident on Friday, but removing that piece of it, the violence aspect of it, and appreciate the idea of bringing some folks together. If I could, I'd be remiss to say, I know that Campello and Montello are experiencing similar issues, but probably not to the level that we are. But anyway, I just wanted to bring that to your attention as well.
Well, yeah, Mary, we need to cast a wide net. We need to get everybody that this affects in a room together, start brainstorming some ideas. We really need to bring this up on the priority list of our town or our city. And I'm going to work to make sure that happens.
Great, thank you. And I know that Brockton Area Transit is on this meeting, and I would probably say, and I won't speak for you, Mike, but I know that because of the areas where people are. And I, again, anyone who walks in anywhere around or even just drive around the downtown area has seen an uptick. So Counselor, thank you for your input. I know all those other things are great, and for all the reasons, I think that to stay on top of this and not have it be sort of a one and done discussion, that we remain having this on the agenda. So do you have any other comments that you'd like to make?
Sure. So just moving on to Sycamore Grove. That project's really coming along. I just had a walkthrough of the proposed location with the parking authority and the members of their board to kind of give them a feeling for what we're trying to accomplish in this area, because we will need the parking authority's cooperation in turning over their control of the marketplace to the city so that we can move forward with building Sycamore Grove. I've also have soon to be a planned sit down with the property owners along Main Street behind in front of Sycamore Grove. We need, we've had a few meetings with the owners. I think we need an additional meeting to kind of finalize plans, make sure their voices are being heard, because this is an issue that is going to affect them. I think, the parking issue will affect them negatively, but I think overall the net benefit to those business owners, bringing thousands of people to the front door of their establishment, can only benefit their business. So we're cognizant of the issues that are going to affect them during the build out of Sycamore Grove. And so we want to make sure that, we address those issues to the best of our ability. Additionally, working with the parking authority to modernize the Adams garage and make it a 24-hour facility. That process is still ongoing. And I'm hoping that we'll have, quote unquote, shovels in the ground, Sycamore Grove, late spring, early summertime. And that Sycamore Grove will be open to everybody to enjoy by summertime of next year. And, so that's something that it's another high priority for me, for the city, for the mayor, for the planning office. And so, I hope it gets done forthwith, and that, I look forward to raising a bear with all of you once it's open.
I think that sounds like a great idea. Anything else, Counselor? I know that at the last council, for anyone who ever wants to be caught up on things, the council meeting, finance meeting, ordinance meeting, all of those meetings are on the Brockton Community Access YouTube channel. And I so happened to watch the ordinance committee, and there was an ordinance that was filed about establishing an economic development committee of the council. Can you explain what that is?
Sure. So, I wish I had a better explanation. This was not filed by me. This was a ordinance filed by Councilor Rodriguez and co-sponsored by Councilor Farwell. So I attended the ordinance committee meeting so I could get a better understanding of what's been proposed. So from what I understand, that this would be a standing committee of the city council with 5 members appointed that would hear and discuss issues of economic development in Brockton. The way that the ordinance is written, I'm not sure if it's compatible with at least how the committee was defined while we were discussing it. So essentially, it's been defined as a committee that kind of operates like the accounts committee, that the planner would bring before it issues of economic development, and that the committee would review those and give its feedback on whatever plan is brought before it. From my understanding, this would not be a committee that would vote on economic development matters. It would not, it would not vote favorably or unfavorably. Nothing would be referred to it from the full city council. So it's not like our other standing committees like finance, where matters were referred, debated, and then recommend, a recommendation of favorable or unfavorable would be submitted back to the full city council. So that's at least how it was presented. I did speak with our legislative counsel. There is there is some redrafting of the ordinance happening now. I have not got that amended language. When it does, I can share it with you, Mary.
Please.
But what we have to do as a city is protect against adding unnecessary, duplicative, and bureaucratic levels of government between economic development and our city. And so if this is a committee that provides feedback, that discusses economic development in a positive manner, and is a net benefit to the city, then I can get on board with it. If this is a committee that's going to bog down any economic progress, economic development progress in our city, add a forum for torches and pitchforks, then I can't support it. And so I'm going to keep an open mind. I'm going to see how it progresses, what the new language is, and then I'll make I'll make a decision based upon the amended language. But generally, I would say that's a fair representation of what's been brought before the ordinance committee, and we'll see how it progresses.
So I know Chris has a question, and before we do that, and I think I would just say is that there's existing business associations, the DBA, Campello, Montello, the Chamber, others, that it would be great when there are ordinances like this that affect businesses to reach out to businesses and see what their feelings are. But that's, again, I can have sidebar conversation. Chris.
Wow. Thank you for bringing this up, Mary. And Jeff, thank you for elaborating on it. This is not the first time I've heard of this, and I think it grew from an idea that Wynn had maybe 3 or 4 years ago. And I do perceive it as potentially both of what you described, right? Could be detrimental, could be positive. What I'll do is I'll stay positive. If the first order of business is gaining a consensus on what the council wants to see for economic development and communicates that with the world, including their inspectors and all of the leadership staff in the city, and that we all could be on the same page, that would be a wonderful, wonderful thing. Because right now in this city, it doesn't matter what the council says, or the mayor for that matter, or any one of the inspectors, because every one of the divisions is its own fiefdom and can block a project if they so choose, and often do, and make it unpredictable minefield for developers. And it's earned us a reputation that isn't really well-deserved, but I can understand why people have developed described that reputation of not knowing in the city of Brockton, like, who's going to get me, and whether half the council's on board or not on board, or how's my project going to be delayed by 6 months? I don't know, but I know it's going to happen. And I hate to say that, but if they could somehow corral that, I think we'd all be on a better trajectory forward. So thank you.
So, Counselor, yeah, it would be great if you could, I could go probably, I'm wondering if I can get a copy of it, of what was filed, and would hope that before any further actions taken, that maybe we just do a little bit of a, I wasn't able to stay for the whole thing, so I don't know whether how the council had voted, but to at least take a look. And I heard that maybe anyway, we're getting a little deeper into that, but I want to just at least bring that up as a topic, and that's about it.
No, definitely, Mary. I'll get a copy of the drafted language to you, as drafted right now. Chris, I completely agree with you Now, if this is a board that helps streamline the governmental process, it recognizes some of the deficiencies in the way that we go from plan to execution, then sure, right? If we can tighten up processes, administrative procedures, permitting, the ZBA, planning. I mean, if this is a self-reflective type of committee that can get things moving along within the city administration to streamline some of these processes, then I'm on board. But again, if it's one that bogs down the process, causes the perception that Brockton is not business friendly even more than the perception already exists, then then I wouldn't support it. So any feedback from our business organizations, this is a committee that's supposed to be to benefit the business community. We should at least hear back from that community before we move forward with any new laws in our city. So any feedback to the ordinance committee or to the drafters or the sponsors of this ordinance, is appreciated. So thank you all.
Thank you, Counselor. Go ahead.
One last offer, and I've made this offer before. The chamber will pay for a facilitator to come in and facilitate a meeting that sets priorities for that group or the city, any group of the city council in terms of business development and economic development. Because quite frankly, you talk to one counselor and that's all you get is one counselor. The city council is not on the same page when it comes to development or priorities or incentives or anything. So when it comes to the business community, so we would pay for a professional facilitator, up to a certain amount to help facilitate a retreat of your council or this subgroup to come up with priorities for the community. It would be very, very helpful, and we'd be happy to pay for that.
Thank you, Chris.
That sounds like a great idea, Chris. Whether we develop this committee or not, I think having that sort of consultant and a sit down to lay out priorities for the city, I think is a great idea, and I would look forward to participating in that. So I appreciate the offer.
So thank you. And so for all of those who are thinking about having an active role in the DBA and what it means being able to do all these things to stay on top of zoning and ordinances within the city. I mean, there's good communications with counselors and with state legislators and the mayor's office. That's what it's going to take in terms of responsibility. I look forward to having you fill out those self-nominations. I look forward to having people join as members. And then as we will get information out, we'll be forming a holiday committee as well. The holiday parade is only 9 months away. Amanda?
Yeah, 9 months, 9 months and 11 days.
I did, is Tony's on, I did run into the superintendent at the NAACP Martin Luther King breakfast. And so he did say he's on board and to work with us. So holiday parade committee, let's think of a whole bunch of things, right? Let's do monthly themes. Let's do activities. Let's just show folks that for the downtown that we need to be, that we should be, and we're going to aim high. So outside of that, don't forget the March we're going to reserve that March 15th to do a takeout of from Cabo Vegan. I would like to continue to do things like that for the other restaurants and to get to visit them. But we're also going to do a women's event, women in business event in the downtown. And then we're going to continue on with our April, May, and others. So Amanda, more folks who get involved, the better. Thank you. It really is. This is, as Amanda's nodding, I hope she can attest as well as Cynthia and Julie. It is not the Mary tells you what to do. I really want to empower everybody to come on and give you a stake in what to get involved because it's really important. So think about the not self-nominating. And other than that, thank you and have a great day. Peace out.
Bye,
Thanks,
everyone.
Amanda.
Thank
Have a
you.
good- Thank you.
Mary?
Bye-bye.